Hi, welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. I'm coming to you today with some interesting things in the world that have been going on, and just kind of interesting the events of the last 24 hours in the news cycle and the images that we've seen. And I'm sure by now you're aware of what's happened, and that clearly is the Notre Dame fire. And the images of that are pretty stark, and it is a sad thing, especially for those of us who like history. This is a piece of history, and some artifacts of history have been lost. But in reality, this was a cathedral that was originally built over a ancient temple that was of some other god, not the one true Elohim. And a temple that's not even worth mentioning the name of the god, because it was a little g god and not the real big G god. So, is it a loss? Yeah, it's a historic loss. There are some things in there that were of value to history, but in the end, it's just stuff. No lives were lost. So I do think it's interesting there's some parallels that we can draw. And one of the first things that I have started looking at was this idea that this is the original Twin Towers. And if you go look up the term Twin Towers in Notre Dame, you're going to find that people call them the Twin Towers, and that there is this love and esoteric secret societies of the towers. They'd erect and many of these buildings 2 towers, and that there is something to the meaning of that to them. And so you see the Twin Towers thing, and then you also see the ground zero. They call it point zero, which is where we got ground zero at our Twin Towers. And so we called our ground zero at our Twin Towers in New York City was basically named after these Twin Towers with their own Paris Point Zero. And look it up. Paris Point Zero is the point of origin. That's considered where basically everything began in Paris, France, kind of the point of origin for everything. And you can find pictures of that. You can find how people do weird things there to observe it. But I just find it interesting. We've got another Twin Towers that catches on fire, collapses. Once again, a big tall thing burns down, falls, and collapses. And you got this point, Paris Point Zero. You also have this at the time when we've had many tragedies in April. There's a long list of terrible events that have happened in April over the last few years, from the Oklahoma City bombing to Virginia Tech shooting. The list goes on and on and on. So it's a time of year when bad things have happened. But in Isaiah 5, Isaiah speaks of a time like this, and it's pretty interesting to look at those things and then look at our society today, and you have to draw parallels to what we're seeing today. And he basically says in Isaiah, "Woe!" This is Isaiah 5:21. "Woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty and drink wine, and men of strength and mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for a reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore as the fire consumeth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be rottenness, and their blossom shall go to dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel." So you have to look at our world today and look at the crazy things that we do, and how we don't even know if we're boys or girls anymore. And some people walk around on eggshells, not sure what to call some person because they want to be a boy but they're a girl. But yeah, it's weird. Can you imagine explaining this to people 2,000 years ago, this debate we're having about being a boy or girl? It would be such a strange conversation for them to even wrap their mind around what we're talking about. And so we are quickly headed to a place where we are calling good bad, and we're calling things that are evil, we're calling them good and acceptable. And so just be careful that you don't get caught up in that. And many Christian churches and many Christians are getting swept up into these ideas and secularized and get caught up in the moment and believe and go along with popular culture. And man, we have lots of history in the world to show that what's popular so often through the ages has been very much against God. In fact, if it's popular, it probably is against God. So anyway, I encourage you to be different, to think differently, to look at the world with God's lens, and to not be afraid to be different, to see the world differently. And of course, I encourage you to read your Bible, see if these things are true. Look these things up that I just talked to you about Paris Point Zero, about the Twin Towers. See if any of that resonates with you. And not that it matters, you know, the enemy, they can do whatever, but we know who, in the end, that Yahuwah, Lord of Lords, He is in control. And He's got this. And so I have no fear of what they can do to me. I know that I'm secure in Him, and I hope that you are able to say the same thing. And once again, I ask if you'd give me a comment, a like, subscribe. If you share this with someone, I appreciate it, and thank you for listening to Shabbat Lounge.